get more on that story, should we now? Standing by for us at Gatwick this morning is Katie. Hi, Katie. A lot of people will be wanting to jet away from this weather, but proving a little bit more difficult if they've chosen easyJet.
Absolutely not ideal, Kay, for people wanting to get away for the Easter break. Now, easyJet say they've had to cancel 62 additional flights today. Can you hear me, Kay?
So I can, Katie. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened there. Do go on.
easyJet say. No, sorry, I lost you there for a second. So easyJet say that they've cancelled 62 flights today. That's in addition to 200 flights that have been cancelled over the weekend. That's because of staff shortages, they say, due to COVID, due to the impact of staff being off sick with COVID. They did say they tried to mitigate the impact of this somewhat by rostering additional staff on across the weekend, but they have been forced to cancel these additional flights, which easyJet have said this morning. They say they have tried to focus the cancellations on routes with lots of flights so people are able to rebook hopefully the same day, but that's not what a lot of passengers have been saying. A lot of passengers have been saying that they've ended up being stranded. Their flights have been cancelled with just hours to spare, and they were offered no alternatives. Now, of course, this is in addition to problems across airports across the UK. We've had issues at Heathrow as well yesterday. Lots of passengers having extremely long queues there, and they said that was because of high passenger volumes that they weren't necessarily prepared for. Also, Manchester Airport have said they have also experienced staff shortages due to coronavirus again. So a lot of issues with people trying to get away for the Easter holidays, and disruption expected to continue later into this week.
OK, thank you. Thanks a lot. Well, the Independent's travel editor Simon Calder standing by for us this morning. Hi, Simon. What on earth is happening?
Well, we've got yet more cancellations here as well. British Airways, I'm counting about 90 cancellations to and from Heathrow, its main base, of course. It's pretty much the same problems as easyJet is facing. There's a kind of temporary serious problem with the sheer number of people who've got COVID, as you've been reporting. And that means that an awful lot of crew are sick. That explains why we've had not just cancellations that were notified maybe a couple of days, even a couple of weeks in advance, but we've had a whole slew of cancellations of British Airways flights overnight as well. That is kind of on top of the more profound chronic problem, which is that easyJet, British Airways, Heathrow Airport, Gatwick, Manchester, Edinburgh, Bristol, Belfast, they've all let great staff go over the past couple of years when aviation almost closed down. And unfortunately, you cannot just switch back on that amount of people, that amount of expertise. They've got to be trained. They've got to be security cleared. And while there's a huge demand for people wanting to travel for an awful lot of families, of course, it's the first holiday they've been able to have for a couple of years. Unfortunately, the airlines can't cope. Really crucially, Kay, we were hearing about passengers not being rebooked. It is absolutely clear. If your flight is cancelled, then the airline is obliged to book you on the next available flight. Doesn't matter if they've got to buy a business class ticket on a different airline. That's what they need to do to get you to your destination. They also need to pay you cash compensation. And of course, if you need to stay overnight, they will be booking your hotel and paying for your meals. That's absolutely strict liability, and they can't get around it. I'm hearing very sadly the number of passengers saying that they're not delivering that. The airlines say, oh, yes, we do. So as long as you know what your rights are, you can try to insist on them.
Yeah, it doesn't stop it spoiling your holiday, though, does it? What's happening at Manchester Airport?
OK, Manchester's got pretty chronic problems. Of course, the biggest airport in the whole of the north of Britain, just behind Heathrow and Gatwick in terms of passenger numbers. And, well, again, they haven't got the security staff. There's big problems. They tried to open Terminal 3. That hasn't happened. So just very, very long queues. Were I flying out of Manchester or Stansted or Edinburgh, I think I would invest £4 or £5 or £6 respectively in fast-track security to try to avoid those problems. It has been really bad over the weekend. It should be a little bit easier at the moment, but I'm afraid, as with so much in travel, you can hope for the best for your Easter holidays, but be prepared for delays and disruption.